24/7 notification. That's a good development. At least you are clear. This will be covered.
Or maybe before we discuss with Joseph, I would like more views from the floor. Please understand, we will not leave till the time we find some solution. So it's better to speak and find out captive.
No, one concern which Ramesh said is that at the last moment, because of the environment concerns, any project gets delayed. No, that is done. That happens because the EIA studies are not done properly.
No, sir. What is the property?
Precisely.
What is the property is the point.
No, and see, generally if you look at how the EIA has been done, again, I'm generalizing, it's not across the board, but it's done last minute. You have those, if you go to the MOEF website, the Ministry of Environment and Forest website, sorry for the abbreviation, you find that there's a whole lot of these guidelines, and then, okay, you need to have a public consultation. The collector will just hold one thing, he will just put up on, I don't know where he puts it up, and suddenly you have a public consultation the next day. You're given a 24 hours notice or a 48 hours notice. People are not aware of it. Now, as per the guidelines, if you actually go to the website and look at those step-by-step guidelines, it's really good. If it's followed, all that we want is that let that guideline, which is up on the Ministry of Environment and Forest, be followed in spirit.
Yeah.
Okay, if that happens, I mean, that's more than enough. Now, for instance, I mean, I do understand, one second sir, just one quick point. I do understand the point. See, if you actually, you have various kind of NGOs. You have what we call as a NIMBY, not in my backyard. See, they are not against ports, they don't want port in my house, in my area. Let it be anywhere else. There are people who don't want it from different reasons. So, if you have an EIA and do that properly, you can get all your views, and then maybe it's not just that, maybe just an alignment. It could just be a shift in alignment. It could be maybe something else, or it could, for instance, it could be simple things like long back we asked the trawlers to have a turtle exclusion device, and it's a very simple mechanism. It's different that most people didn't want to spend 1,000 rupees on that because they said, if it dies, let it die. They didn't want to spend 1,000 rupees. That's a different issue. But that there could be ways out.
Okay. What I said is a proper EIA study also includes, see, there are people when they have the public, as you say, the public address, or rather, when the public's opinions are asked for a project, there are groups which are there just to extract money from the developer. I mean, their concerns or rather their objections are not for the environment, but to put an objection just to get money from the developer. So, because of these people, I mean, corporates will come up with solutions to tackle them. And that's what you are saying, they give 1 day's notice and things like that. So it is not because only the corporates are at fault, but because the environmentalists also are at fault.
No, see, the one way of maybe Mr. Shah, let probably the floor. I would request Manoj, would you like to say, you've seen the maritime sector very extensively. Or anybody else would like to share? How do we, some of the private equity guys, because they may have experience elsewhere in the world. As said, your investments need to be, put into things which are more sustainable. Anybody would like to share their experiences? Yeah.
Sir, the answer lies in what you have stated itself. And looking at your conviction of really putting a structure in place and getting out of this place before we do that. I feel that, like in IT and telecom, we have something called TRAI. Why can't we? Telecom Regulatory Authority of India.
Okay.
And that's how they disciplined the sector, and that's how it's grown so fast. Maybe a logistic regulatory authority of India could be formed, which would encompass all these bickerings and all these views that have been discussed. Look at from the investor's perspective, look at from the promoter's perspective, look at from the government perspective, look at the local element, look at the NGO element, so on and so forth. And as he rightly, we need a leader. We need somebody who's got teeth. Say, all right, this is it. You know, look at China. Today, China, when the governor says this is it, you know, there's no arguments by anybody local.
Sure.
And as we all realize it that as you know, telecom is like the nerves of a country. Logistics is the arteries and the veins of a country.
Sure.
So equally important to have some sort of a regulatory authority at the top which says, okay, this is what is to be done. Period. Finish.
Yeah, that's an idea which has been mooted, I think, quite often, and somehow the procedural and probably Sagi and Joseph will describe that where this is really where this is stuck. I mean, as an idea, it is there for quite some time.
Because an investor, he definitely wants some sort of an assurance or security that whatever money that is being pumped in is not being dissipated or it's not getting stuck. Because ultimately money also has a value.
Sure.
It's a time value. So I think some sort of teeth has to be there at the top.
Okay. Anybody else? So Shade, would you like to say something?
I'm just trying to understand this whole scenario. It's all so much all encompassing. As you said, I don't find any authority in this country. I've been on several DG shipping committees and government committees, and I found that ultimately they all go into the warehouse. Unless you have a local coordinated picture, which, as Mr. Rajan pointed out, we should have a top authority to say, okay, this is it, go ahead. We will be only talking. It's very unfortunate.
Okay, so the two major suggestions which have come from Mr. Ravichandar and meant that one is the Maritime Regulatory Authority and consultative group. But the consultative group, the thing is, it may not have a legal structure, or I mean, if it is of course part of government or government initiated group or committee, whose job is to map the entire coastline, delineate areas which are development where development can take place, where it cannot take place. Do you think it's practically feasible? Captain Sagi, you being part of DG Shipping, do you think DG Shipping can take that kind of initiative to because you're working with the waters in the country, and you have offices all over India along the coastline?
Yes, absolutely. You know, the suggestion just came about some kind of regulatory authority. I would, perhaps we are going far above our jurisdiction when we talk about regulatory authority for the whole of logistics in the country. But if we just confine ourselves to the maritime sector, when Mr. Joseph was Secretary Shipping and this NMDP or Sagar Mala earlier, it was called, this was conceived, he was very clear in his mind that we need to have a DG port. Let's understand that how the port sector is regulated in the country. We have Ministry of Shipping, it has got two wings, ports wing and shipping wing. And both are, of course, in charge is the secretary, but the Joint Secretary Port and Joint Secretary Shipping. And only the major ports, the policy decisions, they come to the Joint Secretary Port. And then there are Chairman Port Trust. Other than these 12 major ports, the state government ports are controlled and regulated by the state governments. And then we have the Maritime State Development Council, which meets once in a while, and we discuss ideas and we see how to talk to each other and move forward. So really there is no central authority which controls, leave aside the environment. There are so many other issues, for example the port dues, for example the port safety issues, which is controlling the regulations in the whole country. Also the integration, you may have a situation, it has actually happened in Kochi. State government is coming up with a huge project of handling maybe 10 million containers and just next to a major port, which is also embarking on a similar exercise. So you're going to have overcapacity. Or for that matter, the Kandla had a terminal